नमस्कार. नंदुरबार तालुका विधायक संतीस कॉलेज of Education Nandurbar, subject CPS 3/CPS 4, curriculum and pedagogic studies, school subject first English. Unit number 1 we have started aspects of English language. Here today we will learn methods of teaching prose. So in last video on unit number 1, there we have seen meaning of prose, objective of teaching prose, types of prose, teaching of prose and steps in teaching prose. So today we are going to learn methods of teaching prose. So let's start with the methods of teaching prose. See, this is the first method, that is the grammar translation method. It is very important method. It is widely used in Maharashtra, in all over the country, to learn a new language. This method focus is the focus of this method is on translation of words and sentences into the mother tongue. Generally, while teaching a foreign language, what we do, whatever the sentences we have in a foreign language, we are translated them into our mother tongue. So so like this we learn a new language. The basic behind this grammar translation method is that the unit of teaching is word and not a sentence. Here the unit of the teaching is a word and not a sentence. So focus is on a word and not a sentence. That is very important thing in grammar translation method. So it gives importance to the set rules in teaching grammar. Suppose we have to introduce or we have to teach a grammar, then what we do, we give more importance on rules. First, what we do in grammar translation method, we explain the rule of the of that grammar, and then we provide a example. So importance is given the set of rules while learning the grammar. So in this method it is expected that pupils should learn by heart those rules. So what do we expect from this method is that we expect that the rules of that grammar should be learned by the students, or they should be memorized by them, and memorizing them they can translate the sentence in different types of sentence, etc. So that type of rules learning is given important in the grammar translation method. So it is the traditional deductive method of language teaching. It is also called as a traditional deductive method of language teaching, because deductive method in the sense that we provide the rule and then we provide, after that we provide the example. So using deductive way of teaching of grammar, so that's why that principle we follow in this method. So that's why we call it as a traditional deductive method of language teaching. So this method emphasizes on accuracy of the grammar rule. So more important is given on the accuracy of the grammar. So that is the important thing in grammar translation method. This method is used while teaching a prose and poetry. It is teach in here while teaching a prose, what we do, we read the passage from the prose and we translate it in a mother tongue. So that is the grammar translation method is used in this to teach prose and poetry. So let's see the second method, that is the direct method. The direct method is known as new method. It is also called as a new method. It is also called as a reform method. It is also called as a natural method. It is also called as a oral method. So that's various names we have for the direct method. But the second language was learned in exactly the same condition and environment in which the child learned his first language. See, how do we learn a mother tongue or the first language? That is, for example, we are living in Maharashtra, so we learn a Marathi language by observing it. आपल्या आजूबाजूला सगळे मराठी बोलणारे होते, आपण त्यांचं निरीक्षण केलं, ऑब्झर्वेशन केलं आणि वी लर्न इट. लाईकवाईज the second language was learned in exactly the same conditions and environment in which the child learn is first language. Likewise, if we have to learn a foreign language, that type of environment should be created. Hmm? That type of condition should be created to learn a second language. That is the basic principle of the direct method. According to Lado Robert in his books 1971, he wrote about the direct method that the central idea of the direct method is the association of words and sentences with their meaning through demonstration, dramatization, pointing, etc. See, what is the central idea of the direct method is the association of words and sentences. See, there is a association between the word and the sentence with their meaning through demonstration. We have to form the association of word and sentences. How we have to demonstrate it, we have to dramatize it, we have to pointing it. So doing these three things, we can associate the word and the sentence, or word its meaning, etc. That is the central idea according to the Lado Robert. Then according to Richards and Rogers in 1986, they wrote the direct method emphasized the use of grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentences in the target language. See, this is another important thing about the direct method is that the direct method emphasizes the use of grammar, so pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentences in the target language. So focus on pronunciation, vocabulary, sentences, grammar. All these things are given more emphasis in the direct method. So these are important things. The sentence is the unit of speech. Here in this method, the unit of speech is the sentence and not the word. In grammar translation method, we have a unit of teaching is the word and not a sentence. That is the difference between these two methods. So while teaching prose, we can use this direct method to teach a prose and poetry. Using this method, we explain the using the same language, that is the second language, to explain that prose and poetry. So that is the direct. It means that we convey the meaning, the words and sentence using the second language or directly. That is the important thing in the direct method. So let's see the next method to teach prose and poetry is that the audio-lingual method. Here, audio-lingual method is very important. The audio-lingual method is generally used for poetry teaching. We can also use for prose teaching too. The audio-lingual method is also called as army method or new key. It has various names. So it is used in teaching foreign languages. So this method is used to teach a foreign language, or we use it for the acquisition of a second language. It is applied to language instruction and often within the context of the language lab. See, audio-lingual method is generally within the context used within the context of language lab. So that is, it means that it is applied to language instruction while giving instructions, or often within the context of a language lab. In language lab, we have to provide so many instructions. We have to given focus on the listening of the students. That type. Then we use this method. The instructor will present the correct model of a sentence, and the students will have to repeat it. See here, what the teacher or the instructor do, that he provide the model of a sentence, of a word. He pronounce it, that, and after him the students are going to repeat it. That is, it means that we have to focus on an oral form of the language. So this method is based on behaviorist theory, which postulates that certain traits of living things could be trained through a system of reinforcement. It means that some behaviorist theories or behaviorist psychology believe that if we provide a reinforcement to the students, they may be well trained. So that traits is followed in this method. So this method is basically used in a language lab. That is, listening skill is given more importance, and after listening the model, we have to produce it properly. So while teaching prose, this method also be used. While when we read a prose, we should be provide a proper reading, and while teaching poetry, this method is very important. While reading a poetry, it is very important we are providing a model reading before the student. It means that how to pronounce, etc. All these things are given important in this method. So this method is also used to teach prose and poetry. The next method is that the silent way. The silent way is the name of a method of language teaching devised by Caleb Gatton. This is the very important method. It is based on the premise that the teacher should be silent as much as possible in the classroom. See, this is very important thing, that as a teacher we should be remain silent in a classroom, but the learner should be encouraged to produce as much language as possible. It means that we remain silent in the classroom, in the sense we have to provide more opportunity to the student to produce a new language. That is very important thing, because in our area or in our Maharashtra schools, we haven't provide to student to speak, to give more practice on speaking. So we have to provide that opportunity. For that purpose, we have to remain as a silent in the classroom. That is very important thing. In silent way, learning is facilitated if the learner discovers or creates rather than remembers, and repeats what is to be learned. Here, what is facilitated if the learner discovers or creates rather than remember. Here we haven't focus on remembering the rules, etc., but we focus on discovering and creating. So this is important thing, and repeats what is to be learned. And here we ask them to repeat what they have learned. So it means that we are going to encourage them to produce. That is, here teacher become a silent, and he asks the student to produce what he has learned. So learning is facilitated by accompanying, mediating physical object. Here we have so many facilitation is there, accompanying, mediating physical objects. Here we use so many physical objects, picture, charts, etc. to introduce the language. So learning is facilitated by problem solving involving the material to be learned. Here the problem solving process is given. So students solve the problem involved in that material, and he is going to learn by involving the solving the problem. So that is the silent method we use to teach prose and poetry. In while teaching using this method in prose and poetry, what we have to do, we have to become a silent. We have to ask the student to read it, to learn it, to discover it, the language, etc. So it means that they are going we are silent, they are going to learn a new language themselves. So we have to provide such type of opportunity to student to produce the language. That is the important method to teach prose and poetry, the silent method. Then we have Suggestopedia. This is another very important method. This method advocated by Dr. Georgi Loznov, a Bulgarian doctor of medicine. He has invented or advocated this method. It is based on the principle of joy and easiness. Here the basic principle of this method is that joy and easiness is there. Here Suggestopedia is the pedagogic application of suggestions. Here Suggestopedia in the sense we have to suggest the student, we have to provide some instruction to the student to what they have to do. It removes mental barriers of the learner by suggesting and giving clues. Here suppose we ask them to do something and they are unable to do, then we have to provide some suggestions, some clues. So why do we suggest some clues and suggesting such type of it means that we have to remove mental barriers by suggesting and giving the clues. That is the very important thing. It helps the learners to reach the hidden reserves of the mind. Here the main purpose is that what we have to do here, we help the learners to reach the hidden reserves of the mind. So in every student's mind there is a reserve, hidden power to reach the content, to reach the target language. So we have to reach towards the hidden point. That is the Suggestopedia we use in a teaching prose and poetry. While using this method, if we ask some questions on prose and poetry and ask them to find out, to read that prose, read that poetry and find out the answer of that questions, so they are trying to learn it. If they have some barriers, then we have to suggest them, we have to provide some clues so they can find the answer. So here we use the Suggestopedia method. So prose and poetry, while teaching prose and poetry we use this method. So next method is that communicative language teaching. This is very important one method to provide the opportunity to communicate with the student. So we use this method. The focus of the CLT is not only on communicative competence but rather on grammatical competence too. See, it is not only the focus on the communication or communicative competence of the student, but it focuses on grammatical competence too. Here we have to develop communicative competence as well as grammatical competencies of the student. That is, both type of focus is given in CLT. The students use the language a great deal through communicative activities such as games, role plays and problem solving tasks. See, in communicative language teaching, when we use this method, we have to provide so many activities a great deal through communicative activities such as games are there, role plays are there, simulations are there. We have to provide some problem solving tasks, etc. So such activities we use. It can therefore help us to match the content more closely with the actual communicative uses that the learners will have to make of the foreign language. See, it can therefore help us to match the content more closely with the actual communicative uses. See, what is the purpose of this method is that what language we learn in a classroom, it should be related to the actual uses in life. So that relation should be made in communicative language while using this method that the learners will have to make of the foreign language. So this is a very important thing. The learner has to make spontaneous responses without consciously thinking of linguistic pattern. So he is not thinking of linguistic pattern, but he is going to respond spontaneously. So whatever he think, he is going to respond. Generally what happen when we use generally we use grammar translation method, student think in Marathi and produce and translate in English and gives the responses. But using communicative language teaching, he thinks in English and he produce spontaneously the responses what he has think. That is the difference. So using while teaching prose and poetry, we should use communicative language teaching. We should provide the opportunity to think. We should arrange some activities on according to the content of that lesson. So we can use this method. There are so many methods again, but these are the important methods here we have seen to teach prose and poetry. So whatever I prepare the presentation, I have used these books as a reference. You may also visit the websites. We can learn these books, study these books and find the detail about this topic. So let's stop here. Thank you. Any doubts and questions you may ask me on a LMS. Thank you very much.